Hey there, this is Mahmoud Hassan, and today we will learn how to use hash available, at available, and hash unavailable features in Swift programming language. So, hash available, this is a compile time check that allows you to conditionally execute code based on the OS version of the device running your app. So this is very useful for writing code that take advantages of new APIs or features that were introduced in a specific version of iOS or macOS. So in this example, you see that the code inside this hash available block, okay, will be executed if the device running the app is running iOS 16 or later. And here the asterisk is a wildcard that specifies that the check should also be performed for any future version of iOS. So yeah, so if you need something only iOS 16 specific thing, you can write code like this way. But suppose if you want to write a class or a method for a specific iOS availability, in that case you can use at available. So let me show you how to use at available. Suppose you are declaring or defining a class or a method like this, and you want that this method or this class will be available only at a particular iOS version. In that case, you can write at available this keyword, then the iOS version, then asterisk, and then you can define the class. Also, in a class, if you want that a specific method will be available for a specific iOS version, you can also do the same. So one thing you have to remember that at available is used to mark the availability of a class or method for a specific platform. But hash available execute a block of code based on a specific platform. Now let's talk about the deprecated API thing. So sometimes what happens that we are changing something, right? You also see this like when you are using any third party library, you will see that one API is deprecated and there is a message showing that use the new API. So if you want to do that in your project, you can also use at available keyword for this purpose. So if you want to, for example, if you define a method in your system, old method, and you want to inform other developers that to use the new method or new API, in that case, before the old method, you can write at available, then the operating system iOS, and then you can use the deprecated keyword. And you can also give a version of the deprecated, for example here 14.0, and then you can write a message like this. So for example, if I type old method, and you see here a old method was deprecated in iOS 14.0, use new method, instead this message is showing. So any other developer will be using this method, will see the message, and then instead of using this old method, he will be using the new method. And if you are developing a library and other people are using that library, in that case you should inform the other developers that the original class is renamed so that they can be able to use the new name. Okay, so for example here we have a old class, my old class, and we are implemented a new class, my new class, and here we have written at available iOS deprecated 15.0 and renamed, we are giving this new class name. So if other developer use my old class, he will see this exclamation mark, and when he click there, he will see that my old class was deprecated in iOS 15.0, renamed to my new class this name. So the developer will be able to use my new class. Okay, so this feature actually worked on a class structure and enum declaration. In Swift, you can specify multiple platforms by listing them separated by commas. For example, here at available, I am using iOS 13.0, Mac OS 10.15. So this class will be available only in iOS 13.0 or later and macOS 10.15 or later. Or if you want to use a specific block of code for a particular version, you can also do that. So here I have written if hash available iOS 13.0, macOS 10.15. So that means use iOS 13.0 or macOS 10.15 APIs. Otherwise, fall back to earlier iOS or macOS version. In this category, the last feature is hash unavailable. So if you want a block of code to run for a specified version, and if you can use hash unavailable for that as well. So the hash unavailable attribute is used to indicate that a particular feature is not available in a specific version of a platform. For example, if hash unavailable iOS 15, so that means run iOS 14 and lower code here. Okay, if you want to specify multiple platform, you can write like this, using comma you can add multiple platforms. So this is how we can use hash available, hash unavailable at available features in Swift.